2011, we had Zaid Abdul Aziz, a basketball player who was a college star and NBA player, on the show. And he said that players today don't remember the legends from the past. And the example that he cited was that Shaquille O'Neal was on the David Letterman show, and David Letterman asked, "What do you think of Zelmo Beaty?" And Shaq was like, "Who is that?"
Zelmo Beaty. No, I just put that on. I just put that on there. Because he's not even on the list.
Yeah, but who is that?
No, he's a ball player. He used to play in the NBA.
He did?
Yeah, when I was a kid. Zelmo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, he's not even on the.
I'm saying, I've been in 20 years, I never heard of
it. Yeah.
Zelmo Big Z Beaty was a powerful force for Prairie View A&M, averaging 25 points and 20 rebounds per game from 1958 to 1962. He led them to the NAIA championship while earning the Chuck Taylor MVP award. As a pro, he was a standout for the St. Louis Hawks and the ABA Utah Stars as an undersized center with a strong inside game and fierce rebounding ability. As a two-time NBA All-Star and a three-time ABA All-Star, he averaged a double-double in scoring and rebounding for his career. He won an ABA championship in 1971 with the Stars, and he was awarded the ABA Playoffs Most Valuable Player Award. Beaty was named to the ABA All-Time Team and inducted into the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame in 2014.
I remember Zelmo Beaty when I was a kid, and I thought he could shack up with just about anybody in the NBA.
What were those first few seasons like in terms of not only Zelmo's playing, because he was banging against Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and holding his own, even though he was a smaller player, but in terms of sort of the evolution of the black athlete and his consciousness in the NBA and his role in the NBA.
It's been quite a thrill to beat him in Indianapolis. Well, it was quite a thrill because with those 12,000 people that just cheering their heads off, it was quite a pleasure to shut him up.
I think that was the highlight of my career, eventually winning a championship. I had been in the game for 8 years, and it took me 8 years to do it. I thought it was sort of unfair, but I really appreciate the effort that the guys put forth last year as far as winning a championship and myself being a part of it.
One thing that comes up so many times is how much pain he was in and how many surgeries he had to have. What was that like at home? Did he have trouble getting up in the morning? What was he feeling when going through these long seasons, not on the first-class flights or charter planes?
Well, that part was difficult, especially for the taller players. See, a lot of those surgeries were experimental. It was all, they just had to go with what they knew. They were major cut-ups. And then he'd force himself and work hard and get back out there.
And here comes the East on the break. It's 3-on-2. Jones down the middle, feeds to Brisker. Blocked by Zelmo Beaty cleanly as he picked the ball right off in midair off his hand.
And the shot-blocking Zelmo Beaty to remain a tough team to score on. But Atlanta's defense takes charge. Beaty intercepts a Hayes pass, and Joe Caldwell scores. Defending superbly under the boards are Bill Bridges and Zelmo Beaty to give the Hawks a 2-0 start. Hazard and big Zelmo Beaty and a rugged defense earn Atlanta the third game, 99-86.
3 for a 12-foot shot. Zelmo Beaty clearing the defensive board for the West team and gets it out to Jones.
And when you see St. Louis, you see the rebounding of Bill Bridges and Zelmo Beaty.
Yes, he missed the shot. A fight for the rebound, and Beaty ends up with a basketball in the backhanded pass now to Jackson. 10 seconds to go. A bullet pass to Red Robbins. He scores! 7 seconds to go. 131-118.
2:55 to play in the first quarter. Beaty feeds to Roger Brown.
The worst thing he had and they worked on it in St. Louis, he had short fingers. So his fingers were short, so he would have a lot of trouble handling the ball, say, versus somebody like Kareem who has very long fingers, they can palm the ball. He couldn't really do that. But otherwise, he fought very hard. He could get down the floor about as fast as he could at his height and size.
Take Big Z, the big man in center. You just can't say enough about Zelmo Beaty. He's played in both leagues. He does just about everything well. He's a tough physical player under the basket. He's a gentleman off the court. A favorite of everyone.
Jack ball tipped away, picked up by Hudson.
Hudson up to Bill Bridges. Underneath is Zelmo Beaty. Big Z makes two.
My favorite had to be Big Z.
Our anchor for sure was Zelmo Beaty.
He carried himself with absolute confidence, and what a tremendous personality the guy had.
He was very much of a gentleman, except he would knock your head off. He was one of the few centers that could go out and hit the outside shot.
He was the grease that caused the wheel to be able to move smoothly. We ran everything through him.
He was a good shooter. He could shoot the free throws, and
he used to play inside a lot and set a lot of picks or take advantage of mismatches.
On Friday in Springfield, Massachusetts, and elected to the Hall of Fame posthumously, the great Zelmo Beaty. Everybody should know, like especially NBA players should know who Zelmo Beaty is.
Working in backcourt against Calvin. An overmatch there as Jones is 6'5". Here's Zelmo Beaty with a hook shot in the lane.
He gets you on his back like that, Don. It's just a swivel chair movement. He just rolls you where he wants you.
Great strength. 94-83 West.
I remember Zelmo Beaty when I was a kid, and I thought he could sack up with just about anybody in the NBA. Was that a warped view from a young kid's perspective, or was he that good?
He certainly was at a disadvantage when you played against Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, Thurman from San Francisco, and Walt Bellamy, the 7-footers at that time that played inside and were very strong. And when we played teams like that, he was more a high post center. He basically was a 15-foot jump shooter. It was to our advantage that he was that type of player so that he could take them out from, onto the basket.
What about playing against Wilt? That must have been the one. They were great centers, but Wilt was, I'm going to guess, something that Zelmo had never experienced before.
This is correct. And with Wilt, he just held on to Wilt for dear life when he was under the basket and pushed. And Zell always had to push hard to try to get in position. That's all he could do against Wilt. And shoot, bring him away from the basket and take shots. That was all he could do.
Jerry Govan doesn't get the roll, but Zelmo Beaty gets the rebound and lays it in.
He was a hard worker. That was the main thing. Very competitive. The basketball parts that have been forgotten and all that, we can't worry about that too much because we know what he did.